Viking. Yes, I'm a Viking. I'm wearing a Viking helmet. I say skull ad nauseam. I drink from a horn. What more do I need to be a Viking? No, quite a lot, actually. A helmet. A helmet does not a Viking make. As that famous Jewish joke would put it, to you, you may be a Viking, but to a Viking, you ain't no Viking. And that is extremely true. Viking is a word that has a claim to be one of the most misused words in history, used by almost everyone to mean a range of things that actually have nothing whatever to do with it, outside of popular, misinformed opinion. You see, being known by everyone does not make something correct. It just makes a considerable number of people very wrong. But this isn't only among the uninformed multitudes, the general public, uneducated in the subject, you could say. No, it appears in academia, almost universally, found in supposedly well-researched history books and TV documentaries, often by those who are experts in the field and, of course, should know better. It holds sway in movies and television shows. Everywhere the word Viking is used indiscriminately as a sort of catch-all term for a multitude of completely unrelated activities, places, and things, where the words Norse, Scandinavian, Danish, Norwegian, Swedish, or Frisian, for example, would be the correct terms of reference for what is being discussed. Viking is a very specific seafaring term, yes, and it has nothing to do with nationality, nor is it applicable to any activities that didn't in some way involve going somewhere in, yes, one of these things, a ship, and doing something when they got wherever they were going in the ship. The term refers to an activity and an occupation, if you like. It has nothing to do with nationality any more than terms like plumber, farmer, carpenter, or dentist. Yet it is used constantly to describe all those of a particular ethnic group, Scandinavians, and everything they did, 24/7, 365 days a year. I mean, we read that Dublin was a Viking city, that Jorvik was an important Viking trading place, that the Vikings ruled the Danelaw for several hundred years, and so on. Yet none of those things are actually true. Cities were Norse. Scandinavians from various countries were living in various places, but they weren't Vikings. Now, they had been Vikings, yes, to begin with, when they established themselves in places overseas, initially arriving in, yes, these floaty things with a dragon on the front end. They arrived in ships, and that made them Vikings at that time. But their Vikingness, well, it wasn't a permanent thing. No, it was left back in the ship. It did not define them as a nationality, as a group, nor is it something that anyone can be today. No, Levy, regardless of claims by some to be Vikings living the Viking lifestyle and all that, there was no Viking lifestyle, you see. You can't live something that didn't exist. It was the lifestyle of the Scandinavian countries that had exported itself to other places. So let's just define what a Viking, an actual Viking, was. Viking, or Vikinger in Old Norse, was an occupation, not a nationality. One could go Viking, till fara I Vikinger, but one could not be Viking. The term was a nautical one, purely related to ships and doing things in ships. Its exact meaning is a little bit vague, but it could be seen as, well, an adventurer, a pirate, a raider, or a trader traveling abroad with their goods, a family going to found a settlement in a different land, or simply people sailing along, enjoying the view of the coastline. Oh, look at that lovely view over there. Isn't that nice? And nobody's seasick. Yeah. Yes, but you see, a ship and somewhere to go in the ship was required. You could not be Vikinger sitting at home on your farm or throwing a party in the local longhouse. ploughing a field, gathering the harvest, making things in the smithy, going out hunting wild boar, wading into a river with a fish spear. Well, none of those things made you a Viking. No, domestic activities didn't count. Even those who had gone Viking and founded a settlement somewhere, like, say, Difflin here in Ireland, modern-day Dublin, well, they were no longer Vikings. No, they weren't. They weren't doing anything in ships. They were a settled community. They were townspeople, settlers, residents of Difflin, colonists. You could call them many, many things, but Vikings, in the true meaning of the word, they were not. By the same token, no one today can be a Viking, even if they're Scandinavian, despite those who claim, I'm a Viking, I live the Viking lifestyle, as they say skull every 5 minutes and often wear questionable tattoos that no actual Viking would probably recognize. There was no Viking lifestyle. There was a Scandinavian lifestyle, yes, which is what a real Viking would have lived because, well, it was Scandinavian. I mean, that makes perfect sense, I think. And to be a Viking, you see, to be a Viking would require a ship or a boat of some kind and something appropriate to times past to do in it. But, raiding, burning the odd monastery, setting up settlements in other people's countries without their permission, trading things without a trading license and so forth, that would be rather frowned on today by the police. They would not approve of that. Now, I suppose you could just sail around in a boat and claim that qualified. I mean, it would be in a boat, but sailing across a lake in Minnesota in a rowboat hardly seems to fit the image of a genuine Viking, no matter how many times you say skull as you do it, or covering yourself in helm of or tattoos and wearing Mjolnir. No, you cannot be a Viking, Ravi, any more than you can be a Roman legionary, a Knight Templar, or a Civil War soldier. I mean, you could dress up like that, yes, but you're still just a reenactor. You are not the genuine article. I mean, if I put on one of those helmets behind me, would that make me a member of the Imperial German Army of World War I? I don't think so. The German government certainly wouldn't be paying me, I know that. Nor would one of those reproduction, genuine Viking-style helmets, no horns, make me a Viking. So, no, you can't be a Viking. And when I saw characters in the Vikings TV show, in itself a bastion of misinformation and magnificent inaccuracies. I mean, amazing inaccuracies. And they were saying, we are Vikings, and so forth. I thought, no, mate, no, you're sitting in a longhouse, swigging a horn of mead, not a ship in sight, dressed in leather more akin to the bikers from Sons of Anarchy than anything remotely Norse, and working from a script written by someone who clearly had no idea what an actual Viking was. So there you have it. The word Viking is misunderstood, misused, its meaning altered from a precisely defined occupation to the entire range of culture of a whole nationality. Clothing, food, works of art, literature, houses, mythology, religion, everything gets the Viking prefix. With that, I shall end this Nordic diatribe. I've been up on my soapbox, I suppose, quite long enough, but I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next time, I shall say farewell. Goodbye for now.